what does what I'll call the mentally prepared executive need to be thinking about and doing before they start thinking future, oh, I'll be going on interviews soon, and therefore, I'll get the job. What are some of those things that you should be getting together in your head and actually doing well before that moment of the interview?
That's a really good question, Tony, because there is a level in the org chart where you can pretty much just put yourself out there and you can see what's out there, if you will. And you get lots of bites and you get lots of interest, and people kind of look at you and say, oh, we could form you into that. We could form you into that. That's not really how it works at the executive level. And the role, the content that an executive needs to wrap around their head around first is, where is my place in the market? So instead of going out there and asking the market to decide that for them, just by flyering the neighborhood, if you will, is to treat yourself more like a high-end product where you really have to get a grip on the intersection between your highest and best use case, your competitive differentiating story. So in other words, the best possible return on my investment and how I uniquely bring that to the table, and what it is you really want to do. Because a lot of executives, they have no idea what they want to do. And then when they're faced with opportunities, they don't have a benchmark to measure it up against why they're interested, why they're not, why it's hitting the mark, why it's not. And when you have the intersection of those three things, and that, by the way, is what the kids in marketing call a value proposition. And when you know your own value proposition, something very interesting happens. You know it when you see it. I've had a lot of executives tell me that before taking a deep dive into their own value proposition, number one, they'd never even looked at their own career that way. But there were opportunities sitting right in front of them that they didn't even recognize because they hadn't taken a deep dive into their own value proposition. Because a huge fail in the job search process, once you get past the origin, is if you're just sort of flyering the neighborhood, if you will, is that you end up in a lot of situations where you're just not as competitive as you want to be.